recession is a sustained downturn in the economy. And what's unique about the United States is that it's actually declared by this group of economists called the National Bureau of Economic Research. They look at a wide range of economic data to determine when the economy has peaked and started falling and when it has kind of hit a trough and started going up. And this includes not just GDP growth, but things like personal income, consumption, retail sales, and employment. And when a wide range of those statistics start turning down, this group of economists will get together and declare that a recession has started. Typically what causes a recession is some kind of shock to the economy. COVID's a really good example of like a very obvious external thing that caused a recession, but typically it's when there's some kind of downturn, either like in the stock market or if like a bunch of loans and stuff go bad. That would be kind of the 2007-2008 recession. A recession in 2023 would likely be kind of directly induced by the Federal Reserve raising interest rates and kind of choking off economic activity to slow down inflation. We are not in a recession right now. While the economy is kind of quite unstable right now and there's high inflation, a lot of those economic statistics like employment are still pointing upwards. What was weird is that earlier this year is that according to the GDP numbers, the economy was contracting, but the National Bureau of Economic Research didn't declare it a recession because those other statistics were still strong enough to say that the economy overall was expanding. The chances of entering a recession in 2023 are probably about as high as you could predict for any year going forward since the financial crisis. And the question is just, will inflation come down enough, either on its own or in response to the Federal Reserve's interest rate hikes, so they could either slow their interest rate hikes or hike up to a lower, what's called terminal rate than they were planning before. But we do know that the Fed is willing to countenance a recession in order to bring inflation down. So it's not to say they're trying to bring about a recession, but there's a choice between making economic growth broadly go into reverse or slow down and high inflation. They will pick the former. Typically during a recession, the most immediate and most felt impact is rising unemployment. Fewer people with jobs, people getting laid off, people having a hard time trying to find work, and usually at the same time that also means wages don't rise or even fall because there's just less pressure on the labor market. It also means that business investment probably goes down substantially because long-term outlook for the growth of the economy during a recession gets lowered pretty substantially. So their willingness to not just hire workers, but invest in kind of plant, machinery, factories, stuff like that goes down. You know, most of the economy still functions during a recession. High unemployment means, 5, 6, 7, maybe 10%, which means that, 90% of the labor force is employed. So the economy kind of goes on as normal, except less stuff is going on and the number of people who are unemployed grows. Typically, to get out of a recession, the Federal Reserve actually cuts interest rates in an effort to stimulate the economy. This is actually kind of worrying for a recession in 2023, because the Federal Reserve's willingness to cut interest rates will be entirely determined by the level of inflation, not necessarily by the level of economic growth. So getting out of a Fed-induced recession is like a little trickier than getting out of one where the economy is kind of slowing down on its own.